The Ryan and Rush Show is brought to you by Vision Homes. If you're looking to build a home in North Central West Virginia, visit askvisionhomes.com. Vision Homes, building you a house you're proud to call home. And don't forget to subscribe to the Ryan and Rush Show. But don't take our word for it. Take Coach Nealon's.
Hi, this is Coach Don Nealon, and you're watching the Ryan and Rush Show. Please subscribe.
And we welcome you into this edition of the Ryan and Rush Show, your source for West Virginia sports. Special episode for you today. We are joined by Amanda Mazey herself. Some people would say the better half. I know we would, Ryan, obviously.
I would say the better half.
Absolutely. Okay, good. We're all three in line here. Coach Randy Mazey's wife, but that's obviously not all she does. Only keep him in line, but they also have a podcast called Mazey Days, just released an episode earlier today, July 23rd. So go check that out along with the other episodes. Definitely more kind of that storytelling stories through. I'm sure you all have plenty. Please, Amanda, thank you so much for coming on. Talk to us about your podcast a little bit.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Well, Maze and I have always had this unique relationship with him being the coach, and I've always been in media, and people have been telling us for years, you guys should do a podcast. You're so funny together. And he likes to tell stories. So I thought, well, it's kind of like what I do for a living. So we started it at the beginning of this season. I wish we had started it years ago, to be honest with you. But we started it this season and just kind of went week by week during the season, which was really cool this year because we had all this success. But it also was a way for Mazey to get the fans involved and get to know the guys, because he's always said if you know the players and the coaches, you tend to root more and you have more of that personal connection with them. So it's just really neat to be able to do that. And Maze, he's been around the block a few times, so he has a lot of really good baseball stories, life stories, and people seem to enjoy that. So we started doing it, and the past month, with the regionals and super regionals and retirement, it hasn't been weekly like it needs to be, but we did another one today. But it's a lot of fun, and people seem to love it. I mean, I'm sure there are many people that hate it, but everybody is like, they laugh, they get some good life lessons, and that's our whole point. And we are just real, how we are in that podcast, like the stuff I give him. I don't know if I can say a bad word here, but the stuff I give him on the podcast is what I give him in real life. So It's a taste of what the Mazeys are like. So it's been really enjoyable.
Yeah, I absolutely love it when I've tuned in. So, Amanda, let me ask you this. We always ask the coach when they retire, how's things post-retirement? Let's go to the other side. What is it like having the manager, the head coach, always home after being away coaching, on the road recruiting for all these years?
Can I get some alcohol before I answer this question?
Sure, let it rip.
You know what? It's been an adjustment, let's be honest, because for 22 years, he's been gone a lot more than he's been home. I'm an only child, so I'm pretty independent. But on the flip side, it's been really nice. He's out in the garden working. He's taken some of the workload off of me, and that's been really nice. And he's been more present for our kids and taking our kids and doing things. And it's been enjoyable. It is an adjustment. I'm not going to lie. And it'll be an adjustment when the kids go back to school and it's more just him and I, and then it's going to be an adjustment when the season starts. And I'm not sure how that's going to look for him because I know he's going to miss it, but it's really nice. But it's, I am trying to pimp him out with some more work. So if you guys need a co-host or something, please take him. Please take him. So he's available for any work.
Okay. There's Ryan and I are both recently married, and we both know you volunteer, but if your wife volunteers you, it's mandatory. Yeah. So we're taking that word.
If you guys have kids one day, he can make it. You just let me know. Like whatever you need done, I'll find a job.
No problem. We really do appreciate that. But of course, Amanda, we'll talk about some questions here, obviously being the coach's wife and that journey, but you're more than that. Obviously you're a mother. You've been a sideline reporter, you do podcasting, you're in media, right? Talk to us kind of like, what's it like, wearing all those different hats and having to balance that all out. And especially right when kind of you're reporting, it's you know, you'd like to be biased and like to be pro WU, but you're also a reporter. You got to keep it, you know, a little bit non-biased as well. Talk to us about that and what that's like.
It's always been really fun. I've always loved being in front of the camera and telling people stories. That's my favorite part. That's probably why Maze and I work so well together. He loves to tell stories, and I love to tell the stories of athletes and coaches and whatnot. I enjoy what I do because I like having my own identity. You know, I'm not always Coach Mazey's wife or Weston and Sierra's mom. I get to be Amanda Ross Mazey, the TV girl who gets to have her own identity. And I think that's really important, especially in this business when everything is centered around my husband and what he does. And I've loved it. Listen, I love every moment of that journey, and it's been an honor. But it is nice to have my own identity and have my own thing as well. And it's really cool to be able to do it within the athletic department here because I know everybody. You know, those other coaches are like family and friends to us. So it's really being able to report on family, you know, the athletic family, because once you're in, you're always in. So that's been a real blessing. And that's kind of how it's always been. When we were at TCU, you know, he was an assistant coach there and I was working for TCU athletics, and same thing. And then at East Carolina. So since we've been together, my work has always revolved around an athletic department that he's been a part of and that I know everybody. So it's made my job a lot easier, and it is fun.
Absolutely. And Matt, let me ask a follow-up question. Just, you mentioned ECU, you mentioned TCU, just being with coach every step of the way. Talk about like just the different lifestyle that you guys have to live in terms of you got to win games, to keep your job. That's number one. You get judged off wins and losses, but you are always open to the different opportunities. What's it like not really having the most stable life in the coaching industry, especially the coach's wife? Because everybody knows that the divorce rate for coaches is extremely high. So just talk about just the different lifestyle over the last 20 years.
I think what's made it so good for us and for me personally is you have to have thick skin, you know, first of all. And listen, like, you can hurt my feelings, but you can't offend me. You know, like you can name every name in the book. You can't offend me. You can call my family, whatever. Like I said, you can hurt my feelings, but I have a pretty thick skin when it comes to that kind of stuff because you have to, right? Like, I have been sitting at away games and I'll have somebody sitting right next to me and they have no idea who I am. And I don't tell people who I am. And they're sitting there railroading Mazey or the team or whatever. And the last thing I want to do is let them know who I am, because then it's going to be even worse. But listen, I'd like to look at that guy and punch him in the face. But I don't, you know, because you just have to that's part of the game. You know, if you want to critique my husband because he sent a runner from third and he got out at home, that's part of the game. I get that. What I don't like is when things get personal. But again, I just kind of stayed away from that. But it's not a position for the faint of heart. And I'm very independent. So I do a lot of things on my own. So that's good because he's been gone a lot, right? I have to do things around the house. I know how to hang light fixtures and do some minimal electrical work and car stuff. And it's just, that's kind of who I have always been. But you have to be able to be okay being alone and doing things on your own. I had 2 small kids, 20 months apart, and he's out recruiting and he's gone most of the summer. And I just was like, this is my role. You know, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to give him any grief. That's his job. I knew what I was marrying into. And, you know, that's kind of the downside is when he's gone so much. But, you know, you have to be super independent and you have to have very thick skin in this business because, and especially with social media, anybody can go on there and just, say anything and people believe it, even if it's not the truth. And that's hard. I tried to stay off social media during the season, even when it's good, right? Because you can't believe them when everybody loves you, and you can't, get down. Everybody hates you because it's so up and down. So you just have to stay level and not give into the hype, but then not get, upset and sad when it's low, because that's the business. It's up and down, especially with, baseball. There's so many games and you're not going to run the gamut and go undefeated. But independent, thick skin. I was the perfect wife for him.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even think about that when you're talking about social media, because he started his career kind of pre-social media. And then, you're starting your career, you're like, where is all this hate coming from? And I like what you said about offended. I one time had someone tell me, they're like, I never get offended. And then I'm like, what do you mean? Like you're so like, it's kind of weird. It's weird to think about. And then they explain it more. They're like, well, think about it. One, someone just may say something stupid. They don't mean to offend you. They just don't put it the right way. Or two, they're trying to get under your skin. Why let them have that power? So
and that's
I
on them.
definitely,
Like if they want to call me this, and that, all right,
Yeah.
I know who I am. That's on you. You're not going to be like, I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm offended. No, I mean, you can, you just can't. That's a tough way to live with any job, any career. Let's be honest.
No, absolutely. But so when you guys, obviously, you alluded to, and throughout either when coach has been, the head coach or an assistant coach, and, you move quite a few times in different cultures and you meet different people. It's sometimes tough, you're trying to fit in, but you get here and you probably all don't know it at the time. What would be his final stop in 2013 here in West Virginia, just coming to Morgantown, having coach kind of start a program that never really kind of got started. That, we played at the old gym field. It wasn't the baseball field that it was now. Talk about what was that like?
I always knew marrying a coach that we could end up anywhere in the country, right? You don't get to dictate where you go in this business. The business dictates where you go. So if I always had my heart set and living, in Los Angeles, California, then I don't need to marry a coach because we don't get that choice. We have to go wherever the job is offered. And listen, there are some great towns and there are some crappy towns, and it doesn't matter. But when this opportunity arose, I'm from Columbus, Ohio originally. He's from Pennsylvania. WVU was going into the Big 12. They were putting the resources into it. And more importantly, we love the mountains. We love hiking. We love fishing, and we love being outdoors. We love Texas. There were a lot of great things about Texas, but it'd be so hot in the summertime and our kids really couldn't go out. And everybody says, oh my gosh, you're moving to West Virginia in the winters. And I'm like, at least in the wintertime, you can bundle up and you can stay warm. You can be sitting by a pool in Texas and be like in nothing and you are dying, But, it was just, we love it here. I mean, the fact that we're kind of like from this area and we are outdoorsy, we just decided that wherever we go in this profession, that's going to be our home. And for this to be the last stop is pretty special because we absolutely love it here. And everybody asks, are you guys going to stay here? Yeah, I don't know where else we would go, to be honest with you. Like all of our friends are here. We're invested in the community. We're invested in the university. So where else would we go? Like we love it that much. We have no intention of going anywhere anytime soon.
That's absolutely great. And Manny, let me ask you this. So Rush asked about how you guys, what the program was like before Coach got here, and to be able to build it up over the last decade plus. Just talk about, I know you guys have a podcast and you guys talked about just the different experiences over this last year. What was it like for you the moment he decided that this was going to be it this last year, he was going to hand it over, and just watching him this whole last season, knowing that this was the final ride? There was a point where it was like, I don't know if we're going to get to the NCAA tournament. We got to win some games, and then we got hot. But just talk about how special this last year was, and then to be able to get to Super Regional, be on ESPN, the Spotlight game, and have a strong showing the way we did.
It was amazing. And I kind of saw this coming with the retirement. I noticed it last season, not this past year, but 2 years ago. I believe we were up to number 6 in the country, right? Like we're rolling, everything is good. And we'd lose a game and he literally wouldn't sleep. We'd win 3 or 4 straight and then we'd lose a game like you're going to in baseball, right? Like I said, you can't run the gamut in baseball. And he would just be up stressing about losing the game and what could he have done differently and disappointing the fans and is the administration okay? And he wouldn't go to bed. I mean, he tried to lay in bed, but he wouldn't sleep until 5 a.m. And I thought, man, he can't even enjoy this when things are going really, really well. Something's not right here. There's just so much stress, and college athletics is a much different landscape now. I mean, let's be honest, he's an old school guy, right? Like he's been in college baseball for 40 years, coaching for 35. It has changed a lot. there's a lot more pressure and there are a lot more expectations and this and that and all these other things that you have to take into account now. And he's kind of always just been a blue collar, his mojo has always been come in, turn a program around and leave it better than he found it. That's how he's been so successful. Like every stop he's had, he's come in, taken a program up to here and left it better. And that's what he's done at West Virginia as well. But, there also comes a point where you just realize as you get older, you don't get time back, and we've been good, planning for this kind of stuff, but you also realize that you can make more money in life down the road, but you don't get time back. And time is precious. Our kids are going to be junior and senior in high school. And, Maze is 58. He's not old by any means, but he's not a young buck anymore. And it's just time to live your life because the stress was getting to him. So him not enjoying it as much when things are going really, really well was pretty eye-opening to me. And I thought, wow, this is new and this is different. And, the last thing you want is a coach who's just not into it, So I think this year, maybe we were so successful because he just had a blast. He didn't want the season to end. But for it to go the way it went, I mean, aside from getting to Omaha, perfect ending, Not many coaches get to write their story like that in this day and age, which was a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
No, we were spoiler alert for everyone. We'll have Coach Randy Mazey on in the show in a couple of days. But when we were talking with him, is he, just said that it felt right, and it was a blessing to do what he was able to do in the way he was able to do, and it's always great to hear that. But let's talk about you a little bit, Amanda. Obviously, you're into broadcasting. We were talking about that earlier. Obviously, the Mazey Days podcast, and other projects you've been on over the years. What got you into broadcasting?
That is a great question. I actually growing up, I wanted to be a pilot, and I realized I'm not smart enough for that. So check that off the list. I actually went to college to go into sports medicine. And then I also realized that I can't deal with somebody's arm like completely disjointed. I'm like, well, that's not for me either. And I just decided to go work for the student newspaper and do little sports clips for the radio station at East Carolina, and then did an internship with TV station, and just sort of that was not on my radar at all. And I remember when I told my parents, I think I'm going to go into television, they were like, are you for real? Like, what exactly are you going to do? So yeah, that's just kind of like how it happened. And I enjoyed getting to, start my career in Greenville, North Carolina, and doing sports. And I actually started in news first and then sports, and it just kind of took off. And the best thing is since I've been doing this, I've been able to freelance more because I don't want to go the local route anymore.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hours, holidays and whatnot. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not very good at things. I can talk, so I might as well get paid. But
oh, absolutely. That's what we do. We just talk and talk into a microphone, and hopefully people will stay and listen. So, Amanda, let me ask you this. So you guys you and Coach have poured your souls into this place, and you mentioned it. You don't want to move. You love living here. You're going to be plenty around the program. I'm sure you guys will be at every single game still. What's your message for West Virginia fans with the new era on the horizon?
Man, this program is in really, really good hands. Sabes has been here. I believe he just completed his 9th season. He understands the culture. He understands the fans. The other coaches that he has on his staff now have been here for a few years as well. So, to be able to have this transition and for it to be seamless has been a blessing. And it's just going to continue. Mazey got it here, and I feel like Sabes is going to take it up to here. That's going to be the natural progression. So they're going to be in great hands. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and it's going to be fun for me just to be able to sit back and not have any stress of losing. Now, when my son's playing here, that's probably going to be a different kind of stress.
Yeah.
But, it's going to be enjoyable to sit in the stands and pick Mazey's brain. I actually love when he and I go to baseball games, or when he was recruiting and I would go with him, because he's so knowledgeable about the game. And I'd say, hey, Maze, why they call that pitch or why that? And he would explain it. And so I love to learn from him. So that will be fun too.
Amanda, we really appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna leave you with one last question. We like to usually leave with this question, especially with those who've been such involved with Mountaineer Nation and in one form of another. But I guess we could say how, kind of two parts, but you can answer it together. How would you like you and your family to be remembered in the Morgantown community and Mountaineer Nation?
I would just like for them to remember our family as somebody who just invested themselves in this community. You know, we didn't come here yet. We weren't born here, but this is our home. And you don't have to be from West Virginia to adopt the West Virginia lifestyle and the morals and the character of the people. These are hard working blue collar people. And that is definitely how we are as a family. That's how my husband was raised. That's how I was raised. That's how we're raising our children. And that's the West Virginia way. They work hard and they play hard. And I just hope that people remember us for loving not just this program and the university, but the state as well, because we do.
We appreciate that, Amanda. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank your husband for us. Again, everyone, we said next episode will be Coach Mazey. Got to interview him. That was awesome. And again, just thank you for your time. We know you're busy, probably more busy with stuff that you're enjoying rather than, got to go to the field and do something. So good luck for everything that's ahead and good luck to your son and look forward to seeing you around.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to talk, and let us know whenever you want to have us back on, and please take Mazey as much as you possibly can.
Will do.
Will do. Thank you. Go Mountaineers.
Go Mountaineers.